Hey there guys, welcome back to War Thunder. Today we are playing in the Supermarine Spitfire Mark 5B. And this is going to be a pretty good match. I've been playing a lot of the Spitfires lately, just because with the new patch rolling out fairly soon and us getting all the new dev blogs and all the teasers for the nice new shiny things, you know, I'm trying to make some money. So I've been playing a lot of premium aircraft, and basically I got bored and remembered, oh yeah, I've got, you know, fun low-tier planes that I can be messing around with. So, chose a Spitfire Mark 5B. Did a few rounds in the Mark 9, enjoyed it, but this aircraft for me is one of the most underrated planes in the game. I don't see nearly enough of them. And I think I know why, after playing about 10 to 15 battles in this aircraft over the last couple of over the last couple of days. If you're playing a 3.7 plane, nearly every single game you get into is going to be 4.3 BR, which isn't fun for anyone. It's horrible. Every team has been made up of P-47s, BF-109 G2s, and yeah, no one wants that. In fact, this game's actually 4.7, so this is the worst possible matchmake we could have gotten. And naturally, because we're on the side of the Allies, the whole team's going to fall apart pretty damn quickly. So yeah, and I'm going to Spitfire Mark 5. So, the Mark 5 is kind of an interesting plane. It's the last of the true turn-fighting Spitfires. The Mark 9 onwards, much more leaning in towards energy fighting. Relies on having more speed and altitude than your opponent, whereas this aircraft relies on being able to outmaneuver your opponents. And I'm going to be using that to my advantage. This is also the first Spitfire that doesn't seem that, as far as I know, that doesn't overheat at 100% throttle. I believe Mark 1s and 2s all overheat if you leave them on 100% throttle for long enough. This aircraft does not. It will overheat very quickly if you are using the WEP, and I'll be using it very sparingly throughout this replay for that reason. And it is something that you need to keep an eye on. The other thing with this plane is it guzzles fuel, as most of the Spitfires do. And I've been mainly taking out 30-minute fuel loads, except for this game, where I'm going to be taking a 20-minute fuel load, and that's going to get me into trouble a little bit later on. Because when you're running that WEP, you are eating fuel. It actually kind of feels like you're in a rank 6 jet running afterburner. Sometimes it is, you know, that bad. So moving up into the clouds, trying to get some altitude. I'm spying a couple of German bombers, and I'm weighing up my options at this point. I'm keeping an eye on what my team's doing. I'm trying to get a feel for how we approach the situation. There's a Dornier 217 and the Italian P108 out ahead of us, and they're looking kind of tasty. But in a few seconds, the entire Luftwaffe is going to appear in front of us, and everything goes a bit topsy-turvy. Now, of course, this is an Allied team, so there is going to be fighters down low where they're not really supposed to be. Although for some reason, some of the BF-109s decide not to climb in this game. And that was another common theme with this game. Boom, there they are. That's all of those German fighters just kind of popped up at once. I think at the time I was doing something off screen, and I looked back and I just saw these planes and went, wait, what? Now the replay doesn't actually show you that, but there's about 7 planes on the screen right now. Our SB2C got absolutely... Oh no, he's attacking ground targets, sorry, so no, he will be dead in a minute though, as will most of our team. So right now I'm eyeing up the 2 German bombers, or at least I'm making it look like I am. I'm actually eyeing up that BF-109 down there. And I'm waiting to see what he does. He turns into me, he wants to have the fight, and I think, okay, fake the head on, so I can get him interested, and when he's low on energy, I pounce. So we come back around, coming into a little loop. I'm wepping the engine here because I need to keep the throttle up. It's a 109 G6, so, you know, not great for us really. We need to kill him, and boom. 2 Hispano cannons, 4 machine guns, 400-meter convergence. At that range, yeah, perfect. I do struggle with these Hispano guns. I've actually had a lot of instances where I'm just filling up planes and they're not dying. And you only have 120 rounds of these guns, so that was actually most of my cannon ammunition that I just used up to kill that 109 G6, even though it was only a short burst. It's only 60 rounds per gun, and then you're relying on the 7.7s. I don't know if you've ever tried to tickle a plane to death, but it doesn't really work out too well. So right now I'm getting chased. There's a couple of 109s behind me, and I think maybe there's a couple of Fokkles behind me, and I think maybe that P-47 might be lurking back there somewhere as well. Heading towards the Typhoon, thinking, hey, you're gonna come give me a hand with these guys, but the Typhoon seems much more interested in the enemy bombers. So I'm just kind of changing up my directions. I'm trying to get some separation. I'm keeping an eye on these planes behind me, making sure they don't get too close. They're holding at about 3 kilometers behind me, so it's nothing too drastic. They're close enough where I need to be keeping an eye on them, but not close enough where I need to be taking evasive maneuvers. Now, obviously the Typhoon, much more interested in the bombers, as is that P-51 off to the left. And our team, as you can see while looking at the leaderboards, is starting to kind of fall apart a little bit under the might of the German Air Force, with their captured P-47s and an LA-5, which is interesting. But that's a topic for another day. Turning in now, and I've got to be honest, I can't actually remember what was back here. There's the Dornier 217, and yep, here we go. There's the P-47s and a Focke-Wulf 119. Now I'm eyeing up the P-47 down low, seeing what's he doing. He's engaged with the P-51. Is he going to come up for me? Yes, he is. I don't want that head on, so get out of the way. And he clips the tip of my wing. So throwing in some erratic maneuvers because there are more German aircraft coming in. And now I'm looking for the shot. Doesn't happen. Change the targets. Whoop, get out of the way. And that's something you're going to be seeing me doing a lot. I get clipped again, but you cannot do head-ons with this plane. This is a very fragile aircraft, and these P-47s are most definitely not fragile aircraft. P-47 there's going after the P-51, but I just don't have the speed to catch up to him. So in a second, I'm going to have to leave the P-51 to his fate, because he's not really going to do anything to help me. And then he turns in. P-47 decides he does not want to turn in front of the Spitfire, which is the wise decision, so we're going to pull off again and we'll go and search for a new target. I'm trying to stay near what's left of my allies right now, but our team is really falling apart. There are just 3 of us left now, and the Germans still have a lot of planes up. Things are really not looking very good for us. I need to start killing enemy aircraft, and there's a Focke-Wulf 190. What's he gonna do? So roll it around a little bit, staying away from his guns. I have the height. I have the altitude advantage, so I have more potential energy than he does. Come around from the 190, decides he wants to turn in. Never a good idea. The Focke-Wulf is a lot of things, but it is not a turn fighter. That is kill number 2. That was also the last of my cannon ammunition, I do believe. I've either got a couple of rounds left or absolutely none. BF-109, there he goes. Now, something I've noticed since all my time playing the Mark V is you cannot outrun 109s in a straight line, but you can sure as hell outturn them when they decide to do silly things like that. The BF-109 kind of realizes, like, yeah, I'm probably not going to win that fight, so he dives for the deck and he's going to run away. Definitely the wiser thing to do. The Typhoon from earlier, who I was trying to use to protect me from the fighters, is on him. Now, he does have the speed to run down that BF-109. But I'm going to stay with him for a number of reasons. Firstly, because if the 109 decides to throw his plane into a turn, Typhoon is capable of keeping up with that turn, but it is entirely possible to dogfight it, even a Typhoon with the 109 F4. He is not, however, going to be able to dogfight me at low altitude, so I'm staying here to basically deter the 109 from throwing his plane into a sharp turn so that the Typhoon can get the easier shot at him. Our last remaining P-51 got shot down, but luckily the Typhoon is able to finish off the 109 F4, and there are now 2 of us versus 4 German aircraft. Oh boy. So me and the Typhoon are kind of communicating at this point as this P-47 comes in. Typhoon's low on ammo, I'm low on fuel. Things aren't looking good. Get out of the way, for God's sake, Smudge, don't get shot. Reverse the direction. I'm doing anything I can to throw off that P-47's aim. I get clips again, but my aircraft is fine. We are still up and still in the fight. The P-47 decides he wants to go for the Typhoon. Now, even at that range, it is well within firing range. I don't have much ammunition, So I just give him a burst to try and see if I can make him turn, but the P-47 is having none of it. He knows I can't reliably damage him at this distance. I give him a long old burst of the 7.7s, once again trying to deter him from chasing the Typhoon, but he is having none of it. He knows there are only 2 of us left. He knows that his allies are not far away, and he wants to end the game quickly. Now you guys will be able to tell by looking at the timer that obviously things aren't going to go too well for this guy. He's chasing the Typhoon back towards the airfield. I'm chasing him, and again, by me sitting on his tail like this, I'm taking away his options. He can't throw that plane into a sharp turn now, because if he does, I'm going to kill him. You know, I don't have much 7.7, but I have enough of it, and I can rely, and if I can get close enough, and I put them all into him, he is going to go down. I'm telling the Typhoon to turn, and then the Typhoon tells me he's low on fuel, and I'm thinking like, oh, screw it. You know, like, what can we do exactly? So the Typhoon's going to do exactly the right thing, and he's running for our airfield. Now I'm kind of getting a bit nervous at this point. I'm thinking, you know, if the Typhoon flies over the airfield and the P-47 decides to come around and fight me again, then I don't really want to have a head-on with him. I mean, he has enough distance between the 2 of us where he could possibly make it happen. But the P-47 is, in a moment, gonna kind of realise that maybe it's not worth chasing the Typhoon over the airfield. I'm also wondering, you know, did he know? Did he know that we were both low on fuel and ammunition? He obviously knew I was low on ammunition, but did he know we were both low on fuel? So there goes the P-47 breaking off, and the Typhoon, who is desperately low on fuel, is going to go into land. Now, yes, the Typhoon is desperately low on fuel, but I'm also down to about 3 minutes of fuel by this point, so I'm not in a very good situation either. However, my plane can glide very well, and I was about to stay in the air and make sure the Typhoon could land and keep the P-47 preoccupied, but there he comes back around for me again. Same manoeuvre as before, make it look like I'm going to commit to the head-on, and then I throw the plane into a different direction and just make myself as difficult to hit for this guy as humanly possible. There's the P-47, chase him down, give him a short burst just to say, you know, like, hey, I still have ammo, and then I head back for the airfield because I don't have enough fuel or speed to chase down that plane. The P-47 is much faster than my Mark V Spitfire. The only real advantage I actually have on that guy is the fact that I can absolutely annihilate him in a turn fight. And these cannons can do some work when I actually have some ammunition in them. So now, bingo fuel, about 2 minutes left. I'm thinking, you know what, screw it, I need to get this plane down. Typhoon's been down for a few seconds at this point, so I'm thinking he's probably had enough time to, you know, at least get himself rearmed and refueled. Now, the Spitfire rips its flaps off at very low speed. You really need to get the speed of this aircraft down to actually put on the deck. About 220 kilometers per hour is about your max. And I forget that because I'm used to flying the Mark 9 and the 24s, and there goes a flap, but not the end of the world. Bring the flaps back in, kill the engine, gear comes down, because the landing gear for some reason can take the punishment, and we are going to set this plane down nicely. So that was quite an intense dogfight dealt with. I've managed to get a little bit of a bounce, bring it down again. The Typhoon is back up, so my gamble paid off. So now there is always going to be one of us in the air to defend the other one. Now our P-47 friend hasn't gone far. He's actually lurking around the airfield. I spin the plane around because I'm anticipating the P-47 popping up again, and if he does pop up and I need to make a quick escape, I want to be pointing towards him so that I can minimize the amount of time he has to fire at me. And yep, there's that qualification, and there's the P-47. The Typhoon and him had a little scrap. I don't know what happened. I have a suspicion the Typhoon might have been damaged because he's going to land again in a minute. And now the P-47 is coming towards me. Wheels on the deck, hold down the triggers. Before I can even get my plane back in the air, I managed to take down the P-47 by putting some 20 mils into his engine. I really don't think he was expecting me to fight, even before I got my wheels off of the runway. Now, I've actually he once again managed to use pretty much all of my cannon ammunition, so in a moment I'm going to go around and land again. The Typhoon, I believe, goes back and lands as well, or at least tries to. And like I said, I don't know what happened to him, but I'm suspecting he got damaged by the P-47 when they had their little head-on pass. I mean, the Typhoon would have been at low energy and low speed, so it makes sense that he probably would have taken some damage. So we land the Spitfire to replenish our 20mm guns again. For some miracle, though, I actually managed to not get hit, which is interesting. A little bit of a bounce. You know, I'm a little bit rusty on my landings. I haven't played that much over the last few weeks and still trying to get back into the groove of War Thunder. And we start bringing the plane to a halt next to the Typhoon. And that's all nice and fine. There goes the Typhoon. He's repaired and rearmed. And there's the 109 G2s. And I'm just thinking, like, there is no way we're going to be able to win this one. Like, the Germans are constantly in the position of power. 109's coming back round. Typhoon's up. He's off. I repair and rearm. And now I spin the aircraft around so that I'm going to be ideally heading towards the BF-109, but I screw it up completely. And the 109, I think, actually decides to go for the Typhoon and ignores me because, you know, I'm on the runway and I'm not really much of a threat. And that's a decision that's going to cost him because I have enough time to get my Spitfire up into the air. And the Spitfire does not need a lot of airspeed to become very dangerous in the turn. And it can also pick up speed very quickly. There's the BF-109 deciding, you know what, I don't really want to engage two British aircraft over their runway at low altitude. That's not really what this plane is good for. So he runs away, and then for some reason, unbeknownst to me, he turns around. Now I'm thinking this guy got excited. He had the last two players left alive in front of him. He's almost top tier in this match. He's effectively, probably I would argue, he's got the best plane on their side. Comes towards me with the head on, then the Typhoon intercepts, and they have a little scuff. I come around for the 109 because, you know, he doesn't want to fly over our airfield, so he makes a hard turn and bleeds off all of that really nice energy that he had. So I'm going to come in, slotting on his tail, find the shot, give him a long burst of 20s, and again, can't seem to find the shot. Spanos aren't the most accurate of guns, especially at 500 meters, and a 109 is a very small target to hit from behind when he's flying when he's, you know, directly in front of you. Managed to get a few hits, run out of 20 mils, and finish him off with the 7.7s for kill number 4. And just when you think we're going to get a little bit of a break, there's the LA-5 at high altitude. And I'm just thinking, like, oh good god. Like, for a minute I thought we had a chance after the 109 went down. Now I make that adjustment because I'm prepared to, you know, dodge the LA-5, but the Typhoon actually decides to pursue this guy into the vertical. Why, I don't know. He ends up actually stalling, but the LA-5 doesn't come down and just kill him instantly. So I'm coming around, looking for the shot. There he goes. The LA-5 is diving back on the Typhoon. Typhoon's a heavy plane. It builds up a lot of speed very quickly. And he's able to evade the LA-5. And then I'm coming in, looking for the shot. But the LA-5 is going to open the throttle, and he's going to keep the distance from me, which is the wise thing to do. Because, you know, an LA-5 can dogfight a Typhoon. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do it. But he most definitely cannot dogfight a Spitfire at low altitude. So, the LA-5 decides to make the Star Wars Canyon run, and I'm looking for any chance I can get to cut him off. Now, bear in mind, I'm only down to my 7.7 machine guns right now, and I'm very low on ammo for those. I've only got about 600 or 700 rounds left with stealth belts loaded. I'm not the best at aiming with these, and they don't really do a whole lot of damage, so I'm going to have to hit this guy quite a lot if I'm going to get the kill. Though, to be honest, I'm relying on the Typhoon to run him down and kill him because he has the speed advantage and he has the aircraft that is easily capable of running down the LA5, and there he goes. So these two guys are going to open the distance and basically leave me in the dust because, you know, my poor little Spitfire, it's, you know, it was fast for its time, but not compared to these guys. So I decide, screw it, there's a little miniature airfield over here, I'm going to land and get myself some cannon ammo because I'm probably going to have to go and hunt down this 217. And if I'm going to be hunting a 217, which is a fairly large, you know, reasonably well armoured aircraft, I'm going to want my cannons for it. So make some funky turns to try and bleed some airspeed, and a number of misplays are going to get made here. And the first one is that I didn't tell the Typhoon that I was going to land. And I should have done. I should have let him know, like, hey, you're on your own, I'm landing. Because I don't want to insult the Typhoon player's skill, but he was acting like he maybe didn't have the best situational awareness or understanding of his aircraft. And I'm basing that on the fact of when I was trying to lead some fighters towards him, he went for the bombers, and then when he decided to go into a full vertical to try and get that LA5 earlier, and then stalled out in front of him. You know, these are mistakes that probably make sense down here at this low BR, but it does kind of give me the impression that maybe this guy doesn't have as much experience as some of the guys that we're fighting against. The second misplay is going to be me trying to spin my Spitfire around so I can fly towards the Typhoon and the LA5, who are locked in an epic duel right now. And I overcompensate, so I think, screw it, I'll take off this way, and then I think, damn it, I'm going to hit the trees if I do that, so I spin it around again. Once again, overcompensate, because I'm kind of panicking now, thinking like, oh god, I've got to go help the Typhoon, because that LA, you know, he's in a manoeuvring turn flight of an LA5, like, it's going to be tough for him. And then the Typhoon gets hit. Ah, and he's down. So now it's just me versus the LA5 and the 217. Now I have the advantage of I know where the LA5 is, and I don't think he knows where I am, but I don't know where that Dornier is. And, you know, I have to now run down and kill an LA5. Fortunately for me, the LA5 must have assumed I went back to my main airfield and was too far away to actually come and assist, because he doesn't decide to gain any altitude, he just puts his plane into a level flight and starts flying back towards his lines, presumably to rearm, because the LA5 does not get a massive amount of ammunition. So he's going to leave himself open. And I don't think he realised actually how close I was, because here I am, just over 3 kilometers away, and I'm closing that distance rapidly as I'm intercepting him. Now, I don't actually know which of these two planes is faster, the LA5 or the Spitfire. I'd imagine it will be the LA5, but I also have a feeling that that might be at altitude. The one thing I do know is that I can run rings around this guy in a dogfight. Now, the LA5, I think, realised, like, hey, that's the last player alive on their team. You know, I should go up and see if I can force a head-on and kill him. Which, you know, I'm not going to take that, because I know what those 20 mils in the LA5 are like, and I don't want to mess with it. And then I think he panicked and thought, like, oh crap, I have to kill the last guy, tried to force a turn fight, and yeah. Only one way that was ever going to go. That was a very short burst. Pilot sniped, kill number 5. 1 versus 1. And I'm in a Spitfire. And all I have to do is find the 217. Now, I wasn't actually looking for the 217 at this point, because I had no clue where he was. I'm actually looking behind me because I can see a dot on my screen, which I think turned out to actually be the Typhoon. The pilot hasn't left the game, he's just sitting in the wreck, spectating me. Or just spectating the battle. So I'm looking at him trying to work out, you know, if he's actually the Dornier, and in the meantime I'm flying towards the ground targets, like the new ground targets have appeared, thinking like they're probably giving me my best bet to either draw out the Dornier to rack up some points, or to win the game. Because, you know, I can't carry bombs on this aircraft, but I can kill all those vehicles, and I have pretty much all of my ammunition. I only fired about 30 rounds out of the cannons. You know, I probably could take out at least 1 or 2 groups of them relatively quickly and before the Dornier would find me, assuming he actually would come looking for me. And while I'm heading in this direction, it doesn't take long for me that there he is. Found the Dornier. Turned out he must have just taken off from his base and was heading out to hit some ground targets of his own. So I can plot an intercept path. I'm pretty sure he sees me because he puts the plane into a slight dive to try and build up some speed, but he's in a 217 and I'm in a Spitfire. Now I have been saying that Spitfire is not the fastest plane in this sort of matchmaking, and speed has not been an advantage I've had for most of this game. But it most certainly is now. Like, this plane is faster than that 217 is by a substantial amount. And I've had, enough time to build up some energy. I gain a little bit of altitude because I'm paranoid about the AAA. And the Dornier is slightly above me. But now it's just a matter of close the distance. And I'm planning my attack like, right, I need to come in low, I need to come in fast, and I need to try and aim for those engines. I need to set a fire. I don't want to sit on this guy's tail, because he only has to get lucky once. There he is, 4 kilometers away, and we're closing. I kind of feel for this guy because there's not a lot he can really do. He's going to be relying on his tail gunners. I've got a very, very good intercept path. And really what I think the Dornier should have done is at this point he should have just turned to the right and just made me come at him from behind and give himself more time to put those guns on me. Because what I do now is I come in low, because that, generally speaking, is where the weak spot on the bombers are. Then I come up, get a little bit closer, and fill him up with the 20 mils. 1 fire, 2 fires, think about breaking off, then decide, no, he's the last guy, finish him off. 6 kills in the Spitfire Mark 5B. In a 4.7 game as well. I love this plane. I've actually been playing it right now because I'm trying to get the ace qualification on it, but I was not expecting to get a 6-kill match in a 4.7 game and take on some of the deadliest planes in the German team that, I dread fighting in anything, let alone a bottom-tier aircraft. Put the plane into a slight spin, realised some ground targets below me a little bit too late, and I missed a chance to rack up a few more points. But, 6 kills, get clipped by the AAA, doesn't really matter. I think I've done enough. So that was, 6 kills in the Spitfire Mark 5B with some epic teamwork, some questionable choices by the enemy team, and 115,000 silver lions. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that one, and I'll see you on the next one.